it has been such a hotbed of controversy. In fact, 25 governors have signed a letter supporting the Lone Star State in its fight to control the southern border. The letter reads, in part, "We stand in solidarity with our fellow Governor Greg Abbott and the state of Texas in utilizing every tool and strategy, including razor wire fences, to secure the border." One of the governors who signed the letter is New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu. Governor, thank you so much for joining us. I have confidence in our connection, although we do miss Jorge and his excellent reporting. You know, and correct me if I'm wrong, you've been defined as a moderate Republican. Are your feelings on the border moderate, sir?
No, look, I appreciate everyone else trying to define me, but no, look, I'm a conservative, and my position on the border is American, in that the federal government is absolutely refusing to enforce their constitutional duty to protect our borders. And if they're not going to do it, then Texas as a state has every right and responsibility to. Remember, the states come first. Let's not forget that, right? The states created the federal government, empowered the federal government with securing the border. Texas has to secure their border. It's a threat. There's no question it's a threat, whether you talk about potential terrorists coming over, or the drugs coming over, the human trafficking issues coming over. Those then become Texas's concerns and problems. So they have every right and responsibility to do what they're doing.
Okay, well, you said it was an American stance, so I'm going to push you a little bit. And respectfully, are you saying the federal government's not American?
They're not doing their jobs that the Americans hired them to do. Absolutely, that's right. They are not doing their jobs that America has hired them to do. Most of America sees what's happening on that border. They want the laws to be enforced. And, you know, on this side, what you're seeing in Washington, what Jorge was just reporting on there, was basically both sides using politics to do nothing, right? And which is just the worst form of government. It really is. So in the Joe Biden and the Biden administration has every authority to go in and use executive powers to just simply follow the law. The law is already on the books. The rules are on the books. The process is there. The previous administration actually did a pretty darn good job with this. Didn't build the wall, which I would have liked to see actually, but did a pretty good job. And that's why since Biden took over, you have a 5-6-fold increase every year in terms of the number of people crossing the border. The senators and the congressmen are wrong in not passing a bill because every little bit helps, right? What's the big deal? Just pass it. Every little bit helps. You know, give him the authority or whatever it is, put more pressure on the administration to do their job, however you want to define it. But either way, that border has to get secured, and everyone in Washington is pointing fingers at each other and doing nothing.
So if the president does, in fact, as he says he has the power to close the border for a period of time if it's being, quote, inundated with migrants, your take on that, is that for optics? Is that enough? Do you want to see more? What is it?
Well, look, that's a small step, and great, we'll take the small step. But how about we just allow Border Patrol to do their job? Right? That doesn't require legislation. That doesn't require some major rule changes. They simply need to do their job and enforce the laws on the books. They're not allowed to do that. I've been on that border. I've talked to those agents. They have all said the same thing. We're not allowed to do what we were told to do, what our job is, right? They've essentially become glorified babysitters. Those are their words. And that's not what they want to do. They want to protect this country. They want to provide, you know, safe access to those seeking to come into this country the legal and legal way with the right authorities and the right processes, and not have this horrible open border policy that's let millions and millions of individuals into this country illegally. That's created problem after problem, especially for Texas. They're on the front lines, right? But this is a 50-state problem. That's why you have so many governors supporting Texas. This is not a Texas problem. This is a national problem, and every single state is affected.
Well, speaking of national issues, I hate to tear you away from the border, but I do have to talk politics because I've seen you a lot. I've seen you a lot in Iowa and your home state, and you've been with Miss Nikki Haley. I'm curious about your thoughts on South Carolina.
Well, look, Nikki can win South Carolina. I mean, the fact that she went from, what, single digits in Iowa, 20% there, 45% or so here in New Hampshire, just skyrocketed, knocked everyone out of the race. She's the one that's surging, wind at her backs, and the South Carolina primary isn't for a couple more weeks. And she's won there before. She knows how to do it. She can talk about successes there that Trump can't talk about. So she has all the possibility to make it happen.
I do want to push you a little bit because I was looking at some of her polling that we have in-house, some exclusive NewsNation polling, and she matches up really well against President Biden, but she does not match well against the frontrunner, former President Donald Trump. She's polling, we have it on our screen there. She does well against the president, but not against former President Trump. And we look at some of the South Carolina polling. She's not pulling through. She's not breaking through to beat him. Your thoughts on that? How can she do that?
Those polls look just like the polls in New Hampshire just a couple months, a month ago, right? A few weeks before the election. So, I mean, the election really comes down to the last couple of weeks, even the last few days sometimes in some of these races. South Carolina has a very low voter turnout. So they have an opportunity to turn out a lot of those conservative-based voters, those Republican voters who haven't voted before, who appreciate what Nikki brought to the table. So there's a lot of opportunity there, a lot of campaigning to go. And again, she's only kept surging and surging. So, you know, polls schmoles. I mean, really, like, nobody cares about the polls. They just care about the final result. That's the one on election day is the only one that really matters.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.